So the reason that you can't get yourself to do things, the reason why you keep blocking yourself, the reason why you keep hesitating and self-sabotaging when it comes to trying new things or taking yourself out of your comfort zone, is because your parents trained you very covertly to say no to yourself, right? Things in our lives tend to happen if we direct our energy at them. Like, repeat it with me. Things in our life tend to happen if we direct our energy at them, right? Because that's how energy works. Your life is a reflection of your inner world. So if you decide for something to happen, literally what should happen is your energy should reflect that, and you should get a manifestation, a synchronicity. Something should happen. You should have steps. You will create a plan, whatever, you know what I mean, right? And people are very determined. If they want something, they will go get it. But in your reality, your parents or whoever was your authority figure, your teacher, your guardian, even your friends, what they wanted you to do was say no to yourself so that you were always vulnerable to their influence, right? Because here's the thing. If I say yes to myself, then I am almost like an independent, free bird, free will creature. So therefore, I can't be subordinated and controlled, right? And therefore, I become more conscious, and therefore, I learn more about myself, about the world. And so I can't be influenced and just told what to do. I don't need a chaperone in my life, right? But if I teach you to say no to yourself, then this is what will happen. You will begin to shut yourself down almost automatically. And they don't tell you to do it directly, right? They don't say no to yourself. It's more like this. They tell you to add things on to what you're talking about. And then they say no to the things that they add on. So let me give you an example. So your parents may ask you like, hey, you may ask your parent like, hey, can I go to the movies tomorrow? And then they'll be like, Shooter's been going to the movies. These movies these days are crazy. They're gonna try to influence you some nonsense. Demons hang out at the movie theaters. So now what? You can't go to the movie theaters. You see, what they did there was that they added things on to what you wanted to do, and then they said no to those things, which by default said no to the thing you wanted, right? And this is what's called abstractification in arguments, right? I think so. But essentially what they're doing is they're making your argument abstract so that it's almost like straw manning. You know, they're making your argument abstract so that they can attack the abstract idea rather than say no to you directly. But it's the same effect is caused, right? Because they're basically saying no to you, but they're saying it in a very roundabout way. In a way where if you're a small child, you just would think that you are silly. Because here's what's happening in your brain. You're thinking like, oh my God, how could I ever suggest such a thing? I could have gotten killed. Oh my God. If you're small enough, you'll think, wow, my parents are great. They know better than me. I should listen to them. I shouldn't trust anyone else. You see what you just did there? You just rejected yourself and chose your parents, right? And if you're older, you'll probably think like, damn, they always over exaggerating, but you'll also have this inner part of you that's kind of scared to do it because if you experience this over time, like 10 years, 5 years, 6 years, even just a month, really, like you will begin to think this way. You will begin to start to add on things and make things more harder and seem more difficult than they're supposed to be, just as a habit, because that's how you're being conditioned, right? And you got to remember, you're a child when you're learning this. You're literally learning how to be a human. It's your first time living, and living is new to you, and people are teaching you how to live. So you are just like absorbing this. Like, this is literally your basis. And as a result of this kind of conditioning, here's what's going to happen. You're going to stop trying to do new things. You're going to automatically assume that trying something new may lead to some sort of catastrophe. You're going to attach the idea of pain and suffering to anything that's outside of the comfort zone, which makes you, very susceptible. They can just manipulate you at will now. They can basically tell you whatever the fuck to do. Because now you're so scared that you won't even trust yourself anymore. And if you can't trust yourself, then you just become a bag in the wind. Like, do you ever feel like a plastic bag floating in the wind, waiting to start again? That's literally the kind of energy that you're in right now, right? The second thing is that it will become increasingly difficult to actually communicate with yourself, right? Communicating with yourself is necessary because every human being in the process of maturity needs to create a mind-body connection, right? A mind-body connection means that you're able to talk to yourself, right? You're able to like send energy into yourself to get outputs from yourself, right? So you can be like, why am I sad today? It's because of this. Oh, okay. Why does that make me sad? Oh, because this and that, you know? If that weren't there, would I still be sad? Maybe. Maybe there's other reasons. And then see, that's self communication, that's inner communication. You don't do that when you don't trust yourself. Because if I don't trust myself, then I don't trust any of the responses I give. And as a matter of fact, if I get a response, what I'll actually do is I will catastrophize around that response. Right? I'll say like, oh, this response, I'll start to doubt it. I'll say this is bad. I'll say this maybe came from a negative place. Or maybe say, I don't know what I'm talking about. Or maybe say, I have psychosis. This is what schizophrenic people do. You see, this is literally what happens, right? You got to see it's a very insidious pattern. And what it really does is that it stops you from growing. It shuts you down. That's what it's designed to do. It's designed to shut you down. Think about it. If I want to make you obedient, I have to shut you down. I have to stop you from being a creature. I have to dehumanize you. And this is why I call this shit evil. Because what else are you going to call it other than fucking evil?
I'll say this. I'm going to stop it right there. I'll stop it right there. A lot of children, because he look young, a lot of children or young people are going to think it's evil. Which it is evil, because evil is evolving. It's just the opposite of just like stop and go, right? It's basic computing. And your parents just trained you or programmed you to stop certain things before you actually do it. In simplicity, don't touch that stove. It's going to burn you, right? It's a projection. It's a source of control. They're not doing it out of evilness. You know what I'm saying? Some parents, I'm not going to say all parents. Some parents, yeah, sure, they do it out of evilness. It's a projection of they might have had a lot of trauma coming from their parents and so forth and so on, right? It's just passed down generational trauma, right? So that being said, it's a projection. It's just a sort, like I said, a source of control. They don't want you doing certain things before you do it because they know, parents know they're not gonna be able to always be able to watch you. If you go to school, if you go outside, if you go away, you go to somebody else's house. It's always a projection, bro. It's simple as it's a projection. He just making it bigger than what it is, you know what I'm saying? He's saying a lot, but he's not saying a lot. So that trickles down to you not going out into the world and actually taking those steps of doing something different. Being spontaneous, outgoing, taking risk. You know what I'm saying? So it stops us from doing a lot of things because really we have no time to... a lot of people really don't really got no time to ponder on things, right? Parents teach you to just go with the flow of life. We teach you this, we program you this, on and off. This is how we want to see you grow because we don't know how you're going to grow. It's protection from out the law. You know what I'm saying? Things outside of your parents' control. They're doing it out of love and they're doing it out of, like I said, fear-based. They don't want you doing certain things when they're not around. In simplicity, that's it. I ain't gonna say too much more on it. I just wanted to speak on that. I can speak more on it, but that's all I'm gonna say about it. Really. You already know what time it is. At 727. Let's go.